who's online. Good afternoon, everyone. So before I get started, can I please acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we all meet across the country. For me, that is the Gadigal of the Eora Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Toshi Kawaguchi. I'm the Director of Study New South Wales. It's a real pleasure to be welcoming you to this session on the partner projects. The agenda for today is quite straightforward. I'll take advantage of having your attention to run through a bit of an update on some of the work that Study New South Wales is doing to support the international education sector and our international students, before handing over to my colleague Elijah Frost to run us through a bit more of a deep dive on how the Partner Projects grant scheme works. We're also very fortunate to be joined by a partner of ours who has been delivering a partner project under the scheme this financial year to share a little bit more about their experience working with us and working under the Partner Projects grants, and there'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions there as well. Elijah will take us through the program objectives, the guidelines, the criteria, and open up to questions that people may have after having looked at the application process online. So quite a straightforward agenda, and we thank you for joining us. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Study New South Wales, we're an agency that was set up to support the international education sector. And as you know, with the border closures associated with the pandemic, the sector has taken a bit of a hit. Study New South Wales has pivoted our strategy to really focus on recovery, and the government is investing about $20 million over the next 4 years to continue to support the recovery of this all-important sector for New South Wales. Our strategy focuses around 4 strategic pillars, the first of which is international student returns, and we're very proud to see that New South Wales is very much in the lead when it comes to returning international students. Our onshore student numbers have grown by close to 20,000 additional students since the borders have opened in mid-December. And of course, we were very happy to be able to start welcoming international students before the borders open under the International Student Arrivals Pilot Plan, making New South Wales the first state to start returning international students at scale during the pandemic. Now, of course, the other pillar of work that we're delivering against is promotion and marketing. So with the border closures that we've had over the last few years, it is very important for us to be out there front and center, promoting the state as a study destination and our offering from an educational perspective to help rebuild that pipeline of students. And so we are very focused on seeking to rebuild stronger and better. And for us, that means also looking at working with industry to diversify our source student mix. So we're placing new dedicated offshore counselors in markets like Jakarta, as well as Latin America. And we have an individual who's about to come online in India, and a team in China, of course, looking to engage with the market there. So through our digital channels and through our offshore presence, we'll be looking to continue to support the sector and the promotion of the state. Clearly, student experience remains a key platform for us. Our heart and soul is invested in making sure that our international students are looked after. Their safety and well-being is paramount to us, ensuring that they have a positive experience while they study here. And we deliver a range of programs that are free for international students to that end. The ecosystem development work that we're engaging in is very much about recognizing that the health of the international education sector depends on a range of things, including making sure that we have strong articulation pathways to study in New South Wales, that we are looking to engage and uncover those commercial opportunities including those overseas with new opportunities emerging in transnational education and partnerships, noting that many of our international students are still overseas. We have to also look at building those employability links and industry links to ensure that students have meaningful work during and after study. And of course, are looking to support the EdTech sector, which is about making sure that we continue to deliver our education in an innovative manner and that we are able to reach those students who are still overseas. So a lot of work that we're focused on over the short term to make sure that we are in the best position to support the recovery of the international education sector. This on the screen is a snapshot of our team that we have at the moment. They are the ones who make the magic happen and live and breathe this desire to support our students and support our sector. So if you do see us at events, do come and say hi. We're always looking at how we can support you and engage with the sector. I might just touch as well on some of the specifics of what we've been offering over the last few years and what we're focused on going forward. As you know, student support and wellbeing has been an absolute priority for us during this pandemic, and the government has invested more than $20 million on specific international student measures to help international students during the pandemic, including temporary crisis accommodation, free food hampers, and the like. We continue to offer support through free legal advice services at the Redfern Legal Centre. We have launched a new intake support service in partnership with the Sydney Community Forum, which is about guiding and handholding students to services that are available in the community when they come into trouble. We've got a hub on our website as well, helping direct students to the same types of support. So if you are in touch with students who are still facing difficulties, please make sure that you direct them to our website where they can be steered towards these various support programs. On as well the promotion and marketing front and engagement front, we're very excited to be soon launching a virtual student hub. So keep posted for more advice on how that'll work. We're also, as I say, engaging with our new network of offshore education counsellors to support the sector, and through our many social media and digital channels, raising, I suppose, the visibility of study destinations around New South Wales and looking to engage with those existing students who are still overseas and prospective students looking at where they will study. So going from strength to strength in that space, and will continue to be a priority for us as we seek to rebuild that pipeline, as I touched upon. So that's a very quick overview about some of the work that we're delivering at the moment. For more information, make sure that you hop onto the website, study.sydney, or follow us on our various social media channels across Facebook, WeChat, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn with the handle Study New South Wales. So I will leave my update there. I think we've got about 40 participants on the line now, and hand over to Elijah Frost, my colleague, for the main event, which is a bit more of a deep dive around the partner projects. If you do have questions throughout the session, make sure that you drop them into the chat. We'll either look to address those as we go along or in a dedicated Q&A session we have at the end. But until then, I will leave you in the capable hands of my colleague Elijah to take us through these partner projects in more detail. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Toshi, and good afternoon, everybody. Great to have you join us and to see your faces. So look, as Toshi said, my objective today is to take you through a bit of a deep dive into the partner projects program for 2022-23. You're joining this information session at a really good time, in as much as our applications are closing on the 6th of June. You've still got quite a comfortable period in which to formulate your application and to perhaps even apply some of the points that I'm going to make to you in the course of the session today. So look, let's just start with a bit of an overview of what the program's all about. So this is an annual grant program, right? So since 2014, we've actually invested $2.4 million across 61 projects as part of this program. And look, the diversity of initiatives, the diversity of outcomes that we've been able to support and partner with as part of the Partner Projects program has been, truly inspiring, really, as somebody who's had the privilege of having a bit of a bird's eye view of it. The exciting thing about this program is it also attracts industry contributions as well. So one of the outcomes of the support that we've been able to provide for these projects is the attraction of $8.4 million in industry contributions as well. And it all comes down to the DNA of the program. So this program is about supporting partnerships within the sector. Partnerships that have a focus in particular on international education, that are looking to fill a gap that might exist in the sector in New South Wales, to seize an opportunity. So this year we've got up to $165,000, including GST, available per project, which is an increase on the funding that was available last year. And so we're really looking forward to seeing what comes through the pipes in terms of your applications. If you haven't already, I really highly encourage you to go on our website and have a look at some of the current projects that are on the go. In a short while, you'll actually have the chance to hear from Sojan Pradhan. He has been the lead for one of the 2021-22 projects, a project called OzSleep. But I'll leave it to Sojan to walk you through that and share his experiences with you. So here's a bit of a rundown of what our projects tend to focus on as part of this program. First and foremost, it's about creating opportunities for students to engage in work integrated learning during their time here in New South Wales. But it's broader than that. So we're looking at partnering with initiatives that are connecting students with their local community, that are addressing any emerging concerns when it comes to international student health or well-being, as well as programs that aim to intervene in the real kind of bedrock issues of the international student experience, whether that's cost of living, or health and welfare initiatives. Many of our projects are indeed student facing, but we've also partnered over the years, including in the 21-22 round, with initiatives that benefit really the sector. So those of you who may have joined our last information session on the partner projects would have heard from Varsha from the Ligon Group, who would have run you through their experiences in undertaking the Social Source project in partnership with Study New South Wales, which was a great way for the sector, for instance, to be fed some up-to-the-minute insights as part of the Ligon Group's social media listening campaign. So those in the sector who were able to access this information were able to make some real-time applications of those insights into the way that they do social media and communications and so on. So big diversity of projects that we're looking to support. There's a few focuses this year, in addition to the eligibility and assessment criteria. So we're giving favourable consideration to these areas. So firstly, anything that supports the growth of the sector in regional New South Wales. Secondly, projects that are geared towards the creation of work integrated learning opportunities for international students. And thirdly, through projects that address any emerging international student welfare or well-being issues. But I shall pause here for just a moment and invite our colleague Sojan to step in. So as I mentioned, Sojan is at UTS, and Sojan is the project lead for AusLeap, which has been all about connecting students with some really wonderful volunteering opportunities in the 21-22 partner projects round. So without further ado, I will give Sojan a very warm welcome, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Eliza. Are you intending to play the video or no? The video on the slide. That's okay. If you're not playing, that's okay. I just thought of asking that.
No, please just go right ahead, Sojan. We won't worry about the video.
No worries. Thank you so much. Just a bit about myself first. I think my name is Sojan. I'm originally from Kathmandu, Nepal. I've been to this country for 27 years. And when I came to this country first, what I did is volunteering. And the way I got involved in the volunteering was because I was actually, before coming to this country, I was actually quite heavily involved in the Red Cross back in Nepal. And with that, heavily involved in the country, came in here, and first thing I wanted to find out was, where is the Red Cross here in Sydney? So I walked down the Clarence Street, first week, and then knocked the door saying, I'm here from Kathmandu. I wanted to do some volunteering here. So they welcomed, and they started doing the volunteering back in '96 for many years. And I've done almost all the volunteering opportunities you can think of for Red Cross back then. And I started by cleaning the mannequins to almost, as I mentioned, every volunteering opportunities available there. And with that, what was available for me was actually get to see and meet up with a lot of other volunteers coming from different countries. With that, I actually created, we had a small group called Red Cross 2000, which was looking at, again, junior Red Cross going to schools and helping the school kids, and a lot of activities were involved. The reason I'm mentioning this, my experience back in that time, is during the pandemic, something really hit me was listening to the students and the challenges they're going through. It's the articles, there are research being done around this area. People talk about when we move from one country to another country, and it applies to international students as well, that when they migrate to different countries, or going in even for study and temporary, moving in, there are cultural barriers. There are, they all of a sudden lose the support from the families, and also the financial this burden, and they also feel homesickness. I went through that. So with that, during the pandemic actually being, exacerbated, it was actually much more into that area. And that's when I thought, wouldn't that be the volunteering opportunity for the students be actually helpful to be able to feel the sense of belonging in where they are. So with that mindset, to be honest, actually, for students and a lot of people actually ask me, I'm an academic here at UTS. I've been around for a while, and I've been teaching different subjects I teach. And why do I, as an academic, involve? And the answer to those questions I always give is, I am, approached by, or I talk to students most of the time, and international students specifically, and talk about these issues. And hence, with the international students, conversation, this project saying, hang on, this is my own experience, let's do it. So this is how it came up. And it's helping students, international students, to find out the local communities. When I say community organizations, charities, social enterprises, those enterprises, the communities, community organizations have some opportunity for them to do volunteering. And why I chose volunteering, again, those people who has a mindset of volunteering and the people who works in the volunteering area has a really big heart. And with that big heart, it actually helps international students, the people who are new to the country, to understand the country, the place and the culture a lot more better. With that as a program, that's what I was asking Eliza, whether he was going to play this video showing how students really enjoyed the program. One of the things to speak about the students who did this program was, to be honest, it was in the middle of the pandemic with the Omicron variant and a lot of rain. Students coming out and doing that in person, not all of them, but 40% of the students came in on the what do you call it, face-to-face environment, and a few were online. So those people who came on face-to-face actually had so much fun in terms of getting to know new people, and also the training we had, or the training we gave in terms of the networking. We had students, the international students who were in the past were somewhat involved in the volunteering opportunities, as well as now they're actually professionals. We got those alumni students coming back to back to the program and then talk to the students, and that was something amazing. Connection or networking happened in that program, and that's something worked out pretty well, and that's something students enjoyed, and that also gave a perspective for the employment as well. Another aspect is knowing fellow students or other students from different countries. We had, in the room, at least 15 different countries, people in the room. So knowing their different cultures, understanding how they do things, and exchanging, and again, during the pandemic, being able to come out and speak to fellow students from different countries was fantastic for them as well. And we had a specific training for leadership, and also the workplace culture. And that was a thing we wanted to give it to students was, okay, well, you're coming from different culture, and in this country, certain things are different. I mean, I'm sure they have already experienced that. And in the workplace, what is important? And that's something we talked about. So this lesson is more about the application process, and that's something I wanted to run through my own experience. The last year when I applied, it is a project partner projects. And so I had a few partners on my, application. With this mindset of providing the volunteering opportunity for the students, I had some, partners who who can actually give some volunteering experience, as well as some institutions. So through the application, what happened was I was being contacted to see whether I can actually get more partners, really. So I went for, I was suggested to get some few. I actually got 15 more organizations to partner with this program, and with that 15 organizations altogether, and including UTS, is about 18 of them. UTS, different section of the UTS where I'm from. So we put together, like the partner together, and then got the grant. Once we got the grant, and we ran the workshops, and also getting students to do the volunteering, and that's what we evaluate on. As Eliza was saying, I'll take the questions towards the end. How am I going with the time? I'm just looking at the time, and I was given about 10 minutes, and I've gone over 10 minutes. And that's it. As I say, if you have some questions for me, I'm more than happy to go through in detail. If needed, we can chat outside, but today we do have a Q&A session. I will be more than happy to be answering any questions you might have. Thank you. And back to Eliza. Thank you, Eliza.
Great, Sojan, fantastic. Well, look, thank you very much indeed for sharing with us just some of your experiences as a recipient of the Partner Projects grant. And it's always great, I have to say, to hear about some of the great outcomes that have come out of this program in particular, and the great the great impact that this sort of space, this sort of work has on the experiences of international students as they, as they sort of discover themselves as part of our community and our communities here. So thanks again on Volunteering Week, no less. So great. Look, if you're happy to, Sojin, perhaps you might be on hand to answer a question or two if they come up a wee bit later in the presentation. But for now, what I'd like to do is just press ahead. Everybody, while those experiences and while those thoughts from Sojin are fresh in your head, let's overlay those against some of the nuts and bolts of the program itself, and we'll start at this place, being where we are on the timeline. So look, applications have been open since the 31st of March. They are closing on the 6th of June. I've already mentioned that this is a good time to be tuning into the process, because at this stage, you've still got time to nut out your relationships with your partners and their respective contributions to the project, as well as scope the project and develop a timeline and a budget to form part of your application. But we'll get into that a little more in a moment. Beyond the application period, there'll be an assessment period across June and July, with a view to the successful projects being announced in August. So some timelines there to factor into your thinking and planning, but perhaps also to factor into your project applications as well. So to start your timeline around that period for when the deliverables start to roll out. And look, the project period will really be from that announcement in August through to the end of June next year, in alignment with the financial year. Step one, consideration number one, is your eligibility. Now, if you haven't familiarized yourself with the partner project guidelines for the 2022-23 round already, I really recommend you do so. It contains all of the key parameters and considerations around this program, and what I'm outlining today is in large part drawn from that document. But I'll run you through the key eligibility criteria here. So first and foremost, we need applicants to be education providers or other organization types, so not exclusively providers, that have some sort of focus on international education. So the for an education provider, that focus can be expressed obviously through teaching and learning. But we receive applications and fund applications from a wide range of organization types, whether they're community organizations who are looking at expanding a particular community initiative to appeal to international students, or a business of any type that is looking at really benefiting from the expertise and the background and the cultural capital of international students as part of a work integrated learning setup. So the criteria here is really that you can demonstrate an interest in international education. Some yes/no criteria to follow. So we do require applying organisations to be indeed a legal entity and operating in New South Wales, to have an ABN or to be registered as an NFP, to have been operating for at least 2 years, and of course to have the appropriate insurance cover for the project activity. Now, we do, and I think this is reflected in a question that's already come through, we do accept applications and consider applications where the applying partner is based in NSW, but the partnership includes organisations that are outside of New South Wales, Vic or Queensland, for instance, but that are able to that are operating in NSW and are able to of course meaningfully contribute to the project. So I'm hoping I've preempted a question in the chat there. Applications must include at least one partner, excluding Study New South Wales. Each partner must be integral to the ability to deliver the project. So Sojan touched on the part of the process where he was securing partners to help this project come to fruition. And what we're looking for in terms of evidence of your partnership is, of course, a statement of support from your partners. But more than that, and what will be significantly more useful for your application is a statement from the partners that actually outlines the nature or the quantum of their contribution to the project, whether that is monetary or in kind. Right. Keep in mind that all the funds that you're applying for from Study New South Wales must be matched either by monetary or in-kind contributions on the side of the consortium. And finally, and significantly, applications must be for new projects or new elements to existing projects. So this can't be used to fund existing core business, BAU. And in the event that the application relates to an existing project or initiative, that part of it for which the funding is applied must be demonstrably new. It must demonstrably be a departure from the BAU of the initiative. All right. So once we've cleared the eligibility hurdles, we come to what we're looking for in our applications, and they must include the following. Right. And really, I'll say this at the top: we're looking for a well-developed project proposal. And I'm sure those of you in our audience this afternoon are familiar with, if not reading, then creating those in your various spheres of work. So right at the top, we need an overview of the project and its relevance to the New South Wales international education sector. And the link up top must be made in a way that's explicit and strong between the objectives of your project and those of Study NSW. And we've outlined in the guidelines document the alignment between the core work of Study New South Wales and the New South Wales international education recovery strategy. So it must be aligned really to those strategic priorities. Following on from that, we ask for a budget. Important here to show, firstly, that the contributions from the consortium will match what is requested from Study New South Wales. And secondly, that it contains good information, not only on the monetary contribution items, the monetary elements of the budget, but also it goes into satisfactory detail on those non-monetary or in-kind elements to your budget as well. And here again, we're drawing the line back to those statements of support from your partners. As much detail as you can get on those statements of support will set you up for a more aligned application overall. Following on from the budget, we do require the proposal to be pretty explicit on the milestones and the deadlines. Look, we know things ebb and flow and change throughout the course of a year, but it is important that we're able to see how this project will be delivered in the period from August this year to the end of June next year. And I believe on the final bullet point, being a detailed letter of support from each partner, I'm quite confident I've touched on that one enough already. So we'll leave that one be for the time being. Okay. Now this is included. This is included in the guidelines as well, which you can read in your own time and then consult. I included as part of this presentation for emphasis. And it comes to what we're looking for in the objectives that you outline of your project. So we're looking for SMART objectives: specific, measurable, achievable, relevance, and time bound. So what we would like to see is a real line of sight between the overall objective of your project, aligned as it is with the strategic objectives of Study New South Wales, and the really specific measures of success that will come with this project. The measurement, of course, will depend on your project, whether it's student numbers or another metric, but really encouraging those of you applying to get pretty granular when it comes to your objectives and your measures of success, as well, of course, as with the other elements of the project, being your budget and your timeline. Okay, everything I've ran through today has been pulled from the resources that we're linking you to here. Your main document for this, I would suggest, is the partner projects guidelines, which are linked here in the presentation that will be shared with you, but is also accessible through our website. If you go to our website while you're on the way to these guidelines, spend some time reviewing previous grant recipients from, of course, the 2021-22 round, but in previous rounds as well. It's a good way to get an appreciation of the diversity of initiatives that we've funded in previous years, and it gives you some good examples of projects that have been impactful and that have been really aligned with our strategy and our sort of core work here at Study New South Wales. We've also provided some links where you can preview the application form. We receive our applications through a platform called Smarty Grants. Those of you who have administered or applied for grants in the past may be familiar with this platform. If you're not, that's okay. That's quite all right. It's a pretty straightforward process, and we've tried to help by including some FAQs and a preview of the form here as well. Okay, so that is that's the conclusion of my presentation. What I'd like to do now is just check and see what questions we've got. So I can see that we've got some questions in the chat as well, and those of you who would be sort of happy to unmute and show your face and fire away, you can feel free to do that one as well. So I'll leave just a couple of moments for any questions to come through. All right, no further questions. Well, I take that to mean that that this presentation has been perfectly comprehensive, and I must thank Sojan as well for furnishing the information that he was able to. Look, outside of the scope of this presentation, if you do have any questions whatsoever about not only this program, but about the broader work we do here at Study New South Wales, you can feel free to contact us on any of the methods that are listed here. We're more than happy to connect with you and answer whatever questions we can. Obviously, if your question relates to the Partner Projects program, your question will make its way to me, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. In addition to what I've outlined today, I'd like to just leave you this afternoon with some reflections on the timing. So considering the elements that need to be built into the application, you know, I think the weeks that we've got remaining in the application round now, you know, you're pretty comfortable if you're getting started now. So that's okay. If you're sort of scoping those relationships now with your partners, then you've got a comfortable amount of time. So hopefully the advice we've provided you today has left you in good stead. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you once again, Sojan, for the benefit of your insights, and we wish you a wonderful afternoon. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you, Eliza. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.